know that you are the creator of the entire Growing Up Hip Hop franchise, and you guys have a new season coming up in New York. Tell us about this new season.
Oh man, I'm excited about it. The Growing Up Hip Hop franchise, I mean, the series, everything I've always tried to do, content-wise, it always had to fit my mission statement. And, I always tell this story when I was 24 years old. So my very first television show, the BET, The Ultimate Hustler with Dame and Dash. And one of the things Dame, always talked about was when him and Jay founded Rockefeller Records, they named the company after this legacy white family. And that always struck a chord with me because I'm like, they both said that they didn't really have, the imagery of legacy black families. And obviously we had legacy black families, they just weren't in the forefront. And so now through hip hop, all of these guys got really rich, they had kids, some of their kids are having kids. So the show has always really been about just black legacy, and showing generational wealth and showing people that built empires. And so I think with New York, doing a series here where this is sort of like where hip hop started, it's a really, really big deal.
Tell us who's on this series.
So you got Irv Gotti, founder of Murder Inc. Records. You got Ja Rule, hip hop legend. You got Flavor Flav, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, hip hop legend. You got Fat Joe, hip hop legend. Kid Capri, hip hop legend. And then you got a lot of people doing like, sort of playing supporting characters like the Charlie Baltimores and Kid Capri's manager, Medina. And, but yeah, that's sort of the core group of the show.
Tell us what you're most excited about in Growing Up Hip Hop New York.
I know these guys. I think what really makes me smile about the show is you get to see black men being fathers. And that imagery is not always put in the forefront. Growing Up Hip Hop is a positive show. Life's not perfect. You're dealing with rappers. You know what I mean? So, life's not perfect. You got to work through obstacles like everybody else. I think that's what, centers the show because people watch it and say, you know what, I'm dealing with the same thing. These people are larger than life. They're dealing with the same thing that I'm dealing with. So it makes it relatable to middle America.
We had a chance to preview the first episode of Growing Up Hip Hop New York, and we saw that Irv Gotti's son was arrested, pulled over for failing to signal, and he had marijuana in the car. And you really saw that dynamic between Irv Gotti and his son. Can you just talk a little bit more about like the theme that came to play there and how you make that decision as an executive producer to portray this on the show?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, drugs is a big part of our society, and especially with millennials and kids. And kids are dealing with, things like that every single day in life where they have to make a choice. Do I do this or do I do that? A lot of kids get influenced and seduced by peer pressure. I'm sure you've been through that. I've been through that, where when you're young and you're trying to find your way, the choices that you make today impact your life, tomorrow. And so I thought that it was a very relatable, theme and that young people could learn from it.
You've been doing TV and creating films, producing films and content for a long time. And you're also, can you talk about just like some of the business side of being in the entertainment field and how you were able to navigate to make smart decisions when it comes to creating this content?
I moved to LA in 2003 to be a writer. And I wrote my first screenplay, which was called Video Girl, which was a movie I did with Megan Good. It was also, in the hip hop space. And, as I was going through different situations with that film and trying to set that movie up, I realized that writers don't really have a lot of power in film because, you can sell your screenplay, they can, hire other writers to rewrite it. By the time the movie gets made, it can look completely unrecognizable from what you initially wrote. And so that was sort of like when I started to pivot and say, you know what, I need to be more than just a writer. I need to be a producer because producers, the producers are the most powerful people. It was founded by the producers are the richest people. And so that was just sort of a business decision. Now I've produced over 30 films. I own close to 80% of my library. And it's all about ownership at the end of the day. And so, I produced a ton of stuff from the Growing Up Hip Hop franchise, to Shut Up and Dribble with LeBron James, which was critically acclaimed this year, to Jermaine Dupri's documentary, which we just premiered a couple of weeks ago. So I'm kind of all over the place.